Other headlines, the U.S. Supreme Court is allowing the state of California to use a newly drawn congressional map that favors Democrats in this year's midterm elections. The justices today rejected a request by California Republicans to override an appeals court's approval of the map, which could help Democrats flip 5 seats. It comes about 2 months after the court cleared the way for Texas to use a map aimed at helping Republicans pick up 5 seats of their own. That map was pushed by President Trump and helped kickstart a nationwide battle over redistricting. Officials in Fulton County, Georgia, are challenging the FBI's seizure of ballots and other documents related to the 2020 election. In a filing today, they said they're seeking the return of the materials that were taken during a raid last week at the warehouse where the records were stored. County Chairman Rob Pitts, a Democrat, said, quote, "This case is not only about Fulton County, this is about elections across Georgia and across the nation." Mr. Trump has long falsely claimed that the 2020 election was rigged. Just this week, he called for Republican officials to take over voting and nationalize U.S. elections. In Gaza, several Israeli strikes today killed at least 21 people, including 2 infants. Health officials say that among the dead was a medic in Khan Yunis who rushed to help 2 victims when he was hit. In a separate attack, Israeli troops fired at a residential building in North Gaza. Israel says the strikes were in response to a soldier being injured by militant fire, which it sees as a violation of its ceasefire agreement with Hamas. A relative of those killed said many of the victims in one attack were from the same family.
We can't comprehend why this is happening to us. Our relative, his wife, had given birth. The baby girl who was 6 or 7 days old was martyred. They were all killed. What can we do? Where can we go? We don't know what to do. This isn't a life.
Also today, Palestinian officials said that medical evacuations at the Rafah border crossing were halted. Israel insists that the border remains open and that any delays were due to a lack of coordination with the relevant agencies. A top Ukrainian official says that talks today in Abu Dhabi with Russian officials were, in his words, substantive and productive. The negotiations are aimed at ending the nearly 4-year war and are being brokered by the U.S., with envoy Steve Witkoff and President Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner attending. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that the doors for a peaceful settlement are open, but added that Russia will continue its military campaign. Russian attacks today killed at least 9 people across Ukraine and wounded more than a dozen others. Separately, President Zelensky told a French broadcaster today that an estimated 55,000 Ukrainian soldiers have now died in battle. There's been more fallout from the recent release of millions of documents related to the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Starting overseas, the British government said today it'll release documents related to Peter Mandelson, who was appointed as ambassador to the U.S. despite his ties to Epstein. Bill Gates said today he regrets every minute he spent with Epstein after an email alleged that Gates was having an extramarital affair, which he denies. This all comes after lawyers for Epstein's victims reached a deal with the Justice Department to protect the identities of nearly 100 women who were reportedly affected by the release of the documents. The man who tried to assassinate President Trump at his Florida golf course has been sentenced to life in prison. In court today, Ryan Ruth also received a 7-year sentence for a firearm offense. Federal prosecutors had been seeking life, saying his crime was unacceptable in this country or anywhere. In 2024, a Secret Service agent spotted Ruth with a rifle aimed at then-candidate Trump. He was taken into custody without his ever firing a shot. Today's sentencing caps off a chaotic trial. In September, Ruth tried to stab himself with a pen after the jury found him guilty on all counts. Former Indiana Congressman Lee Hamilton has died. The Democrat served 34 years in the House, where he led the powerful House Foreign Affairs and Intelligence Committees. He also served on the congressional probe of the Iran-Contra scandal and later in life served as vice chair of the 9/11 Commission on the government's failures to prevent the attacks. He made a number of appearances on this program, where he spoke about the complexity of foreign policy.
You have to use other tools of power, and that can be covert action, it can be diplomacy, it can be political steps, economic leverage, all kinds of things.
His counsel was sought by Democratic presidents, including Lyndon Johnson and Bill Clinton. In 2015, then-President Barack Obama awarded him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the nation's highest civilian honor. Lee Hamilton was 94 years old. On Wall Street today, stocks ended mixed amid ongoing weakness in tech shares. The Dow Jones Industrial Average added 260 points on the day. The Nasdaq lost ground, falling around 350 points. The S&P 500 also ended in the red. And a Doberman pinscher named Penny is the latest winner of the most prestigious prize in the U.S. dog show world.
For Best in Show at the 150th Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show is the Doberman Pinscher.
The fan favorite at the Westminster Dog Show in New York beat out 2,500 other dogs spanning more than 200 breeds. Penny becomes the 5th Doberman to win top honors. Runner-up and receiving just as many cheers was a Chesapeake Bay Retriever named Coda. Still to come on the NewsHour, hundreds of people are laid off at the Washington Post. We speak with its former editor, Marty Barron. We report from Antarctica as researchers there face serious obstacles to measuring the continent's fastest melting glacier. And renowned dancer and educator Alicia Graf Mack discusses her new position leading the legendary Alvin Ailey Dance Company.
This is the PBS NewsHour from the David M. Rubenstein studio at WETA in Washington, headquarters of PBS News.
Support journalism you trust. Support PBS News. Donate now, or even better, start a monthly contribution today.